and welcome to After the Table, a TTRPG podcast. I know the intro is a little bit different, but yes, welcome to the first official podcast episode. The other two, they were pre-podcast episodes, but this one, I'm very excited to kick off the podcast with this one. And welcome the lovely queens of the table of Bituin Queen. Welcome, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I didn't know that we were gonna be the first ones. This is great.
I know.
First
I'm
official episode of the podcast. The other two I recorded. I did as like individual videos in 2024. But y'all are like technically the first.
Let's go.
I'm so excited.
I saw the trailer and I was like, I want to get these people on my podcast right now.
Stop! Oh my god.
This is more of an honor than the pageant itself.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
Honestly, though, I saw the trailer and I was like, wow, I can't wait to watch this, even though I was in it. So.
No, because like we did record it for months, and like now that I'm just like, how did we start?
You're like, I don't even remember. And now, yeah. So let's go around and introduce each other. I'm going to start with our wonderful game master. And
Hi there. Yes, thank you so much for having us, Shelly. My name is Medima, she, her pronouns. I am the game master for the Bituin Queen, and it's been such a lovely journey of getting this story together. I was so very blessed to basically cast all of my friends in this series. So once again, let's meet our cast of contestants. First up is Alyssa Aguilos.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Aguilos, she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Desiree Danso.
Ashley C. Lanuza.
Hi, I'm Ashley C. Lanuza, she, her, hers, and I play Venus Delisaya.
Kay Kawada.
Hey there, I'm Kei Kawada, as she mentioned. Pronouns are also she, her, and I play Janine Gubaton. Bitches, you'll get that later on, just keep watching.
And finally, last but not least, Charlotte Rose!
Hello, I'm Charlotte Rose, she, her pronouns, and I played Miriam Omapoy in The Bituin Queen.
Oh my god, it's been literal months since I've actually done that intro for our cast, so it feels really nice to do it again, even though I've been watching me say that for several weeks because I've been editing this thing, and it's been wild, let me tell you.
So, speaking of which, it's a mini-series, correct? Mini-series
Yes.
is on the channel of Rumble Roll. What is Rumble Roll?
Yeah, so Rumble Roll is a nascent little YouTube channel that focuses mainly on TTRPGs as seen through like the BIPOC lens, and it's founded by a group of Filipino Americans that are based here in Los Angeles, and they wanted to try to bring like different kinds of lore that exist not only within the Philippines but throughout like Asia and beyond, with all these different like mythologies and stories into the worlds of like TTRPG. But this was the first campaign that was an all-femme campaign and set not in like the pre-colonial times that previous campaigns had been set in, but a more modern, fresh take on the Philippines. But we are largely playing off of the book Sina Una, which is a basically like a guidebook for a Dungeons and Dragons setting that is all based in pre-colonial Philippines. I just decided to take the things that were in that book and fast forward to 1966. But yeah, so
Which is a very significant year
super
in
significant
history
for Filipinos. Yes. But actually, I think I'll just go ahead and toss it around the room to my ladies for like what they were thinking or feeling whenever they first got approached. I'll start with the person that I had met over 10 years ago now. Charlotte, will you please tell me what you were thinking, or what I was thinking, I guess? I don't know.
What was Maddie thinking? What was Medima thinking? Yeah, so as she mentioned, we have known each other for a very long time. We were roommates in college, and so really just being approached. I have more recently been getting into tabletop RPG. I am currently in like a handful of D&D campaigns, and it was something that I really got into like through my fiance first, and it was something that I kind of always wanted to do, but just never really had a group, never really had an opportunity. And it was actually amazing because one of his friends actually said, "Hey, I understand that a lot of women want to play D&D but don't really have a space to do so. So I'm running a little short one-shot campaign for people to hop in and just try it out." And so truly like the all femme table is so important to me because that's how I got into D&D in the first place. And I have, out of the many campaigns I've done, there's only one that's a co-ed campaign. Love my boys, but also like there is just something so beautiful and wonderful about an all lady D&D group. Also, the thing about me is that I am white. And so that was also kind of a funny thing about Medima approaching me about this and really just feeling so honored that this was something that I could experience for the first time and stories that I had never heard before. And really just like feeling very special to like be at the table and just kind of like truly like the I'm just happy to be here, just rocking with them because they're rocking with me. So I really really appreciated the offer and had such an amazing time exploring, and I learned a bunch of stuff too. So it was really really cool.
Yeah. Charlotte, who do you want to bring up to the spotlight, my love?
Oh, I've got to say, my Miss Girl, she and I were cracking up the whole campaign because we were sitting right across from each other, always making faces at each other. So I'm gonna throw it over to Alyssa.
Thanks so much. Same question, Maddie?
Yeah, like I mean, cause so a little bit of context, Shelly, as
Yeah.
well. Like, I met Alyssa, Kay, and Ashley all in the same place, basically, like in the same space, otherwise known as Palms Up Academy. It's a open mic that is based here in LA, but specifically based in historic Filipino town. And like Alyssa, Kay, and Ashley came in different times, like of just like where this mic was based. Like Kay knew it before it was called Palms Up Academy and had been in the community for a minute. And then Alyssa came through shortly after I had made like my appearance in there at like 2019, 2020 kind of era.
Yeah.
And then Ashley, whenever we were doing like the mic remotely in like Highland Park due to COVID, she started coming through and we were doing it in a basically concrete amphitheater in the middle of winter.
Open air.
Open air. It was wild.
Cold.
It was
Bring your blankets.
so cold. So like I've watched these ladies all separately like be very strong in like their poetry and their performance, and that's a big reason why I wanted to like approach them. I already knew that they had fantastic stage presence, and I just wanted to invite my friends that I knew were so talented to come and play, which was great because Alyssa is another kind of like somewhat veteran, I'd say, at our
my
table
God.
for when it comes to D&D. Come on
You
now.
flatter me.
I
No,
was
I,
gonna ask, I was gonna ask how many people have been playing D&D for a while.
think well, for me, I've been playing D&D since the pandemic started. I think I had a lot of checks on my nerd card, but that was one I hadn't checked until the pandemic. So like it was just like, oh, yeah, it's about time that I should get into D&D. And now that we can do it through Discord, my a friend of mine who is also an actor, because Maddie and I were actually, we went to different film schools, but we're actually only born a year and a day apart. So when we celebrate our birthdays, my birthday is like the day before hers. And we're just like, in a lot of ways, we're very similar people. I don't even know how, like from Texas and California, we have the same vocal intonations sometimes. I don't get it. But um, yeah, when Maddie had approached me about D&D, this campaign actually, I had already known her from Palms Up, and I actually sing backup on Medima and the Switches band. So she was like on her iPad, I think, and she was like actually editing the lore doc. And I was just like, "Is that the All Fam campaign you've been talking about?" She's like, "Yes." Um, and the more that we got talking about like the characters, I was just like, "Oh, no, that's the one I probably would make the most sense playing." And the closer and closer it got, I was just even more excited. Also, like this is kind of a kit bash of styles because we have a lot of D&D elements, but if you are also familiar with like Dimension 20, we also play a lot of, or mostly we play a lot of kids on brooms or kids on bikes. So we're mixing some of these elements. And also I just wanted to mention that like both Palms Up and Rumble Roll aren't exclusively Filipino, but we are like, we just happen to be founded by Filipinos. We welcome a lot of other ethnicities and stories, and we do still have like a POC lens, but we are very welcoming to many different types of cultures.
Yeah, we're very familiar with the kind of mantra within Palms Up, which part of the mission statement is an intersection where the marginalized and the privileged nurture diversity together through the transformative power of art.
Woo!
It's a big old mouthful, which basically just means that anybody that's cool, come through. If you're not cool with everybody, maybe have a conversation or go
That's
away.
what I'm saying. If you're rocking, they're rocking with me, so I'm rocking with them.
Dang, Maddie knew that by heart, huh?
Hey, dude, it's not like I've been in the community there for like
It's not like she's
years.
the headmistress or like the vice.
Mistress, don't put that on me.
Sorry, the principal. She's the principal of Palms Up. Sorry, wrong title. Edit that out.
That's yeah, you know, Shelly, I'm
She's
sure
the
you can relate to
principal.
this. You can relate to this, Shelly. I'm sure a lot of enterprising women like you do. The amount of hats and titles that you accrue in your lifetime.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
call it plate spinning.
I'm a one-woman crew over here. So I'm
Love.
video editor, live
Love it.
streamer, game master,
Come on now.
It's amazing.
or yeah,
Ugh.
no, I get that.
The
All
thickest
too well.
resume. I love. Alyssa, who would you like to popcorn it over to, babe?
I'm gonna popcorn it over to my lovely seatmate that we were like wobbling on a bench together. Ashley, see you in the
Gosh. So my whole thing is before this campaign, I never played at all. So this was my first ever campaign. I never even did like a 1 day like mini thing. Like this was I was going in pure raw, pure raw. It was great though. I think it was like a lot of intense moments because I was like, what's going on? Why did you suddenly change character and how did you do that? And how did you watching especially like Alyssa and Charlotte, since they have played like significantly amount of times before, like it was watching like magic because it's like, what, how did you think about that? That's crazy. Like that just popped into your mind. So it was really cool to like watch people. And then I think, Maddie did such a great job at like creating a story and creating a world and then like trying her best to pull that out of me as well. I really felt that. So, I mean, we're also just good friends, so I feel like she just knows me, but being able to kind of I think dig deeper into myself and putting that into a character was like, whoa, this is so cool. But it was also really scary and it was really intense. And I like loved watching everybody grow. Like, I mean, Kay too, especially like you did like your character, how you like created your character and then you developed your character into your own as well was really cool to watch. So, yeah, I learned a lot and it was really long. I'm gonna be honest. These things go on forever. Uh, they went on forever. but it's nice to have that experience. I don't know if I'll do a long campaign for a while, but that was a good time.
And the thing is, too, right? Like, technically, this was a short campaign because we only have 8 episodes. There's usually, yeah, Ashley, like, I was very much just like, I'm gonna get her feet wet and just see how she likes it. And if she wants to come back, great. If she has a good time, awesome. If it feels like it's too much, I understand. Because most campaigns, Shelly, like, on average, what would you say, like, is the average length of campaigns that are like, I don't know, because I feel like when you film games, like when you do actual play, it feels very different from like home games, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, totally.
what would you say is the major difference?
I mean, it all depends on, I guess, your production style as well. What everyone's feeling. I'm in a Vampire the Masquerade actual play, and we're on our second season. First season was 20 something episodes, and then we're on our second season, and we're on episode like 12.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How long does the campaign last for that one?
We've been rocking this since 2023.
Wow.
So we've been doing
Wow.
that.
Campaigns can like go on forever as long as your DM has a story hook, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it really depends on how deep your characters and what the DM wants to do.
In our case, it was just kind of like, how much storage do we have on a hard drive that can fit this stuff that we want to say?
that part. That
How
part.
long can we go before the camera turns off?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because again, like, when I said nation, I meant this channel is brand new, right? There's almost no sponsorships involved right now. Like, we're working off of people's borrowed gear and Frankensteining our way through production, where it's that, like, I was trying to think about, cool, it'd be great to just knock all this out in the summer so that everybody doesn't have anything to worry about for the rest of the year. But as is the enemy of any D&D table, scheduling is a nightmare. That's probably my least favorite part about doing any TTRPG that, like, you want to try to sit in for a long time, is that your mortal enemy will always be what's on somebody's calendar, who needs to leave the state, who needs to visit family, and none of those things are necessarily their fault. It's just life. Life gets in the way of art? Oh no!
Unfortunately, we're not Renaissance artists over here.
No!
Getting paid buku. Well, I wouldn't say buku amount of bucks, but like enough money
Not
to
yet.
survive.
The power of yet.
She's saying, oh my god, I will manifest. I will manifest this.
Well,
No,
that's
but-
the fun thing
yeah.
about the D&D community is like there were many YouTube communities that like kind of fell to the wayside when big sponsors pulled out, and because it's so niche, but because there's so many different kinds of TTRPG, I was just watching a video that was just like, oh, we're kind of okay, is what all the D&D like community was saying, or TTRPG community was saying.
We're kind of okay.
Yeah, we have all these tiny sponsors that can keep us afloat.
But no, honestly, like circling back to Ashley, I think even as somebody as new as she was to the space, she already knew how to tell story because she is herself like a writer. And I love bragging about my friends, where I'm just kind of like, not only is everybody on my cast like in some way, shape, or form like incredible writers, like poets, but additionally, like getting to push them in that like improv space of just like, okay, let me actively tell a story and actively like get into it. I'm glad that everybody seemed to have fun, and there was like there was just so much. There were so many cool arcs that even as I'm like editing the series, I'm like watching it happen, and I'm like, dang, my friends are so talented. This rocks. Like, I've just been having a grand old time watching it back. And speaking of which, somebody I've been immensely enjoying watching back, mainly just because of some of the wild swings that she takes, is Kay. Like, before Kay gets into it, I just need to drop this in here. sometimes when a player does something or says something and like you're in the moment as the GM or the DM and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna discourage that thought or that feeling. But then like you start thinking about the repercussions of like letting that thing come through, and then you're like, this is not really spoiling anything, but basically what happens is Kay's character pulls a past employee's name tag out of her overalls all of a sudden, and then I was like, when I was watching it back, being like, wait, why would she have an old employee's name tag just like in her pocket? Oh my god, are Janine's overalls a bag of holding? Oh my god, is there an entire world inside Janine's overall? Like, I started spiraling as I was editing.
It's just
and
a Jimmy playing in there.
That's what it is, where I'm just kind of like, what, if we ever had a season 2, would it just take place inside Janine's overalls? I don't know. I don't know.
Darcy Hotel
like
staff
Sisterhood of the
have
Traveling
bags
Pants.
of holding.
Yes,
Pockets of
Sisterhood.
holding.
Season 2 of Bituin Queen is just Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. That's so
It's
good,
Sisterhood
Shelly.
of the Traveling Overalls.
Overalls.
Overalls?
But like my overalls on, or Janine's overalls on Miriam would be hilarious.
Oh my god.
They're
No,
totally magic. They can totally fit.
totally. Talk to us about
want us-
Janine. Talk to us about her.
So when Maddie had first like asked me about the character, I knew she was working on something with Rumble Roll, but I had no idea what at the time. So I was intrigued and asked her, and she's like, "These are my list of characters. Look at them if you're interested." And the one that stood out to me, I guess, because it was very similar to who I am, was Janine, someone who is like bigger bodied but tends to like make themselves smaller, doesn't want to be a burden on people, just wants to help out. So I really related to that character, because I was looking at all the other characters and I'm like, yeah, I can see like these people being this character, but she was like, no, that's my character. So yeah, it was really okay. So scheduling was really hectic, especially when we're like, oh, cliffhanger, gotta wait 2 months to, and I'm like, okay. But like, what happened? So
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we had
You
to
were
do that.
left hanging.
The thing is, like, right, like, I was writing all the beats for the episodes and, like, these sections, and as we're going through production, I was having to be like, well, we're running out of time, I gotta push this to the next episode, like, but how can I still, like, put in this cliffhanger that I know, like, will keep them interested, or at least, like, have my players be, like, reeling, so that they can think about, like, how they want to come into the next session. But that did suck, also, with just being like, and you guys remember that this thing happened? They're like, nah, girl, that was 30 days ago. What you mean? What you mean
Yeah.
do I remember what happened? I gotta look at my notes.
and then also being like, oh, cliffhanger, and then you just hear all of us going, ah, like, what's happening? Please. But especially because it's funny because, like, we would have days where we'd film multiple episodes in one day, and sometimes it was really hot because we couldn't have the AC on, and lights. So, but we were so into the story that it was like, okay, like, I just want to know what happens, but also I'm tired, but I want to know what happens, but I have to wait 30 more days. But it was really fun.
So wild. Like, the moment that I knew that you guys were really pushing is that, like, as soon as the scene that you were in that I was, like, acting with you was done, I would see, like, that cast member fold into themselves. You're like, okay, I gotta keep it in reserves until I'm back on again. But then, like, I think that y'all, like, sometimes y'all would forget that there was still a wide camera that was getting all of us. So I've been very creative in, like, punching into certain people or cutting away to a different camera so that you can see, like, people just go, like,
Yeah, if you've ever been in the service industry and where you're like talking to your table and you're like, amazing, okay, well, I'll check on y'all in just a little bit. And you turn around, it's just like face falls, and you're like, I must rest now. Okay, it's time to go back into it. So yeah, I mean, it was a very interesting experience, especially on those long days, and also on those days where we come back, 2 months later, and it would be like, last time on the Bituin Queen, and we're like, oh, we forgot, we're pissed at you. We forgot that there's this huge cliffhanger. What the hell?
I also made the mistake of like writing my notes in different notebooks. So I'm just
Oh
like,
my
wait,
gosh, yes.
which episode did I write this in? Damn
And I have like
it.
horrid handwriting, so I look
Same.
back at my notebook while we're filming, and I'm like, "What? How many points is that?
Oh,
What's
Maddie,
my
you don't know this,
superpower?"
but I did that thing that some players do where they make a separate chat for the players. We didn't utilize it that much, really, though. It was just like, you guys want to
Plotting
compare
my
notes? We
downfall?
gotta
We just
compare notes.
needed
We didn't write anything in that thing
we
at
just
all.
needed to catch up. We were just like, "Wait,
No,
what
that's
happened
What
last
valid.
episode
happened?
again?"
Dude, that's
Yeah.
so real. But also, that is why I was trying to write recaps as often as I could. Where I, like, as soon as we would wrap, maybe like a week later, I would ask, like, the production team that was, like, capturing us, I was like, hey, can I at least just have the audio from the session so that I can, like, think about, all right, this is the stuff that we did. And then kind of later down, like, the line in, like, post production, just be like, all right, where are those like start stops happening? Where can I like cut out the dead time? Does this still make sense? Oh, we totally retconned that from like a different episode. Gotta cut that out. And it's been a wild ride, but it's just really been cool to like watch everybody. Real, I don't know, man. I'm so proud of it, and like proud of everyone that's been working on it. But also, God, if you guys would want to do a season two, there's so much that we cover in the series, Shelly. Like between like the civic things that were happening that were like comparative to like the Philippines in that time. That technically the world that we're playing in is like super fictional. Um, but I was trying to choose like different things in history that were really impactful and like bring it into this world of just being like, I think that TTRPGs and specifically D&D is really great for like escapism, but in the world and time that we live in, there's something that feels almost a little necessary to bring the real world into the game that you're playing so that you can like one learn how to cope with what's going on kind of, or two like work out almost solutions that you can then turn into like action maybe after you leave the table. For our tale specifically, I wanted to focus on what does it look like when a world that used to be more of like kind of like equally between a patriarchy and a matriarchy, but like largely matriarchal society. What happens to this even fictionalized version of it, where like colonialism still happens, and like capitalism like runs rampant, and what does that look like in its like kind of in a form that had barely started. Like for a bit of context, in the Philippines, 1966, the Philippines was like on track to become the next like superpower as far as a country, especially within Asia. We were like really on track to be basically what everybody refers to today as just kind of like the superpower that is like China, or like even as far as like Japan. But due to poor leadership and like political corruption, the Philippines basically just nosedived, and it was largely influenced by just people that were trying to emulate other people's governments. And that's the thing that's been so weird for the Philippines as a country, is that the sense of identity gets lost a lot in the sauce. And my husband, who is white, by the way, when we came back from our honeymoon in the Philippines, I had asked him, like, what did you think while we were there? And he said, well, the Philippines is like America without her makeup on. And like,
Dang.
yeah. So, but what he meant by that was like the amount of like rampant capitalism, like late stage capitalism that's in that country. Like you can look at the Philippines and like what happens there and then predict what's going to happen in the US, because like the US was so influential to how the Philippines had developed within modern times. So I decided to still play a little game of make 'em ups in that kind of setting somehow. And there was a lot of stuff that we covered and a lot of really cool lore that we were able to like explore together. Like truly watching back an episode today and watching my players just be like, oh, that corporation can't have a hand in publications of literature and knowledge. What? That's crazy. And I was like, yeah, it's evil is what it is. They shouldn't have their influence everywhere, but they do. And there
That
was
industry has nothing to do with that other industry.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm glad we all go to the Brennan Lee Mulligan School of Anti-Capitalism.
100%, dude.
Capitalism is the enemy. Don't worry, everyone. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Capitalism is always the enemy. But there was so much more that we didn't get to explore in this first season that if my players would be open to it, and my lovely, lovely friends, because they're my friends first and my cast second, but if my friends would be very into doing a second season, I already had like jotted down like, oh, I know how the stories leave off. Like I know like maybe I'll ask them like, what do you think happened like 3 years after the events of this season, because here is what I'm thinking happened. And instead of like, this first season was very much me creating a brainchild from like actual history and Sina Una. I'd love for the second season for me to really like involve my castmates and just incredible writers so that they can tell me like, let's expand the world even more, because I think there's so much that we didn't get to get into because we only had a limited amount of time to film. But if we did it again, I would be like, ooh, I would want to explore not just story with y'all, but I think that y'all would be ready to tackle like real D&D mechanics. Like I'm talking spell cards, I'm talking weapons, I'm talking big old dice rolls. I think they can handle it.
Yeah, something I really loved about I think kind of near the end, we get a little more into kind of D&D mechanics, but for most of it, it was kids on bikes. But my favorite thing is that we did not call it kids on bikes. We called it toddlers and tiaras.
Yes, per Maddie's customization of our campaign.
Yes.
You get to see what we call our stat rolls, and I'm so excited to see. And I think every time that we make a Kids on Bike-esque like campaign, wink wink, nod nod for something that's coming up in Rumble Roll down the line, I think we're gonna keep adjusting.
Yeah, because like,
Honestly, if a Toddlers and Tiaras version of that just randomly showed up as like a Kickstarter, I'd back it.
hell yeah. Thank you, Shelly.
I'd back it so hard. I'd be like,
Oh my god.
welcome. This is my next campaign. Toddlers and Tiaras.
It's like just Dance Moms, but D&D.
Oh my god. Well, we kind of got a little bit of that with Ashley's character in like Venus, right? Like I think in a weird way, like Ashley and Kay kind of had like similar sort of like helicopter parents, and then the reveal, I can't spoil it. It was just too fun and too good, but like knowing that those two characters were also just kind of like, they're the youngest ones that are in like the competition, that they're in the world, and being teenagers surrounded by parents that like really don't have a clue what's going on is crazy. But they're so quick to be like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you should do. Wild. Especially for Ashley. Especially for sweet, sweet Venus.
Speaking of Toddlers and Tiaras, has anybody actually been part of a beauty pageant before?
Yes, I have.
Would anybody do a beauty pageant if they had the chance?
No.
Well,
Thank you.
I will put a caveat
Pageantry?
that my pageant was not exactly. I mean, we had talent and we had a couple of things, but because of capitalism, my pageant was not only like beauty talent. It was also fundraising for a nonprofit that it was for. So like whoever raised the most money got to be the queen.
That sounds like the beauty pageant that I did.
There you go. Did you have a good time at least, or was it like weird?
It was interesting. It was interesting. I mean, good for. They're doing it still, so
Was it
good on them.
was it your choice to do the pageant, or was it
Yeah,
somebody else's
it was
choice?
my choice.
Okay,
I
good,
signed
good.
myself up. It's all mostly like very adult women who do
Oh,
this,
good.
so it's like yeah,
That's good.
yeah, no. It was yeah, no, it's not children. No, these are like full grown women.
I was 10.
Oh,
That's
good
really
lord.
sweet, but also
Also,
weird.
Yeah,
yeah.
that is
And also,
very
where are the
Jean Benet
photos?
Ramsey.
Where's the photo? Where's
Where are
the
the
I'll
evidence?
show you.
photos?
I'll send it in the chat. Shelly, if you want me to send the
Okay.
photos, I might.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. I need to see a photo. So going around the table really quick, what was everyone's favorite moment, whether it was yours or somebody else's?
Ooh.
This is your stars and wishes, baby. Here you go.
Is this a spoiler free? This is spoiler free, right? As much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. I
Or?
try to make it as spoiler free so people don't know.
I'll tell you, it's not so much like a moment, but a characterization. Charlotte is the studio audience for the campaign. Charlotte provided me so many great expressions to cut away to when things were happening, whether it was a gasp or a look. Um, Whereas Ashley, because of like how we had to like situate our cameras, Ashley was jimming the camera a lot. Like she would like look right down the barrel and like just kind of like side eye. um, Alyssa was more of just kind of like a really active member in a Maury Povich audience. She's like, no, that's not right. No, that's no incorrect. Like just like
I think
anytime.
that is. That might just. I think that is my favorite moment where, like, I don't know if you've ever been in a campaign, but there's something happening and it might not involve you, but you immediately want to go. Do I see this? Do I see? Am I here? Because I want to be. And then you'll know when that moment is.
Ooh,
But
there
that
is
my
one.
We'll see.
Yeah. Actually, I know I can clock exactly when it is. It's episode 4. Exactly when that happens. So make sure that you keep watching to episode. Oh wait. Also, by the way, Kay is like, you wouldn't know Kay's commentary unless you knew that like her mic was like linked up, because Kay is the silent shader whenever we're having certain things happen where she was like, huh, paper bag. Like I like stopped editing for a second and I was like, paper bag to dang, Kay? Alright. Okay.
But we're talking about all of this fun stuff happening around the table, and truly, like, I love the studio audience, but it was hilarious because I did see the trailer and I was like, I'm having some strong reactions, and I hope people know that this is genuine. Like, this is not me playing it up. I'm having a blast. I'm playing a fun game with fun people. It's a great story. The shocks were shocking. The laughs were hilarious. The jokes, like especially the ones that came out of nowhere, would absolutely send me. I truly was like living my best life, and I hope that everyone who watches at home is reacting just as strongly as I am, because I'm right there with you. I was having a great time too. Um, uh, oh,
Yeah.
wait, no, go on.
No. Oh.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, I kind of have, like, I have such a, like, I think that I just keep talking about, like, love being in an all-femme campaign, and just really, like, just so thankful to be surrounded by such wonderful women at this table. And there is a moment, and again, no spoilers, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but there is a moment where my character Miriam, who is like opposite of pageant girl, like it really is a woman on a mission, not expecting to even be competing. And so, she's a little bit of an underdog, and she has a moment where she truly like shits the bed and is kind of trying to recover. And it's not going great. The dice hated me that day. And it just turned so quickly because of my character getting support from all of the other characters, like basically standing up and being like, that's my girl, and I'm not going to let anything happen to her. And it's just one, like, I think that that's probably my favorite moment. So I'm really excited for people to see just the girl power of it all. It's beautiful.
Before we don't make me
Um,
pick.
not a, this isn't a pageant again, please. Just kidding. Um, I think my favorite would be just how much we laughed. Like, and there are really emotional scenes too. Like, we are crying. We are literally crying. Like, we had to like get back into character.
Just
But
like,
just yeah, just there are no more paper towels. Like, like I could feel my nose getting red from how much I was, you know. But also just how much we laughed and how much we had a good time. And also, I tend to be very quiet, so being able to build my character not only built like made her stronger, but it also made me feel like I was getting stronger in myself too, which was very fun seeing like myself reflected in that character and like a mirror holding back at me, seeing that like, oh, like I can do these things, I can be strong like my character. It's not just a fairy tale, things can actually become reality. Ashley, go.
My favorite part was our interaction with all the non what's it the piece PC
NPCs.
NPC. I was like, there's a word with an N. I can't remember what it is. Um, yeah, the NPCs. I think because each of us kind of had a particular one that we interacted with in such a way that was comedic relief, that was romance, that was sexy time romance, that was trauma from your parents.
If you
So
can't traumatize and or flirt with your cast, what are you doing as a
yeah,
GM?
yeah, like it was interesting to kind of watch Maddie like switch faces every single time, and like each of us interact with her in such a different way, whether we're like about to kiss her or whether about to cry from the trauma that she evoked in that character. And so that was my favorite part, was kind of just like how you can interact with like quote unquote the NPC characters. That's redundant. The NPCs. Um, and like kind of take the story from there, which I thought was cool.
All right.
Also, mad props
Oh,
to Maddie. Sorry,
no,
she
you're fine.
like made everything, like had prepared everything, like our backstories, like everything, like, and every week before or like before we started, she would send us like a copy of like, hey, just FYI, blah 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 blah, and I'd be a little overwhelmed
Here's
because I'm like,
homework.
Here's some
I'm,
homework.
I'm like,
1,000%, Shelley.
but you
but also,
also, with how spread out it was, like, I feel like it would have been impossible if we
yes.
had just been coming in cold every single time.
It was really helpful. I mean, sometimes I'd be like, oh man, we went through so much. This is a lot to read.
You're like,
But also,
you're
it's
like,
just like,
I'm
oh
reading
wow,
my
like
notes.
we did a lot. We kicked like, I'm not gonna say people, but like, we just had a lot of fun. And it was just like, wow, like we accomplished so much.
We kicked some logistical ass in this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All right, going around the table. Let's start with Ashley. One word to describe this season. You don't have to explain, just one word.
Come on, poet. Go in, poet. You got it.
Let's go.
You got it, Cambridge grad, almost. Come on
Intense.
now.
Intense.
Ooh.
I'll just say intense. Yes.
And then you can send it to whoever.
Popcorn Charlotte.
Girlhood. Yeah, just beautiful, beautiful girlhood. I will popcorn it over to Kay.
Oh man, I'm not. Words. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, I had time to think, and I did not think. I would say blooming.
So
I love that.
I would say cathartic.
And I'll polish us off with redemption.
I love it. So, where can everybody find Bituin Queen?
You can find all the episodes for the Bituin Queen on Rumble Roll. That is at Rumble Roll Games on all your social media platforms. And we will drop the first episode on Saturday, February 1st, and will be 8 episodes deep, baby. We got so many stories to get through, and I'm so excited for everyone to see it. Like, truly, Shelly, I don't know how many other times I'm gonna say it until, everyone's seen the thing, but I couldn't be prouder of my collaborators and my friends. They're so brilliant, and I can't wait for everybody else to see how brilliant they are.
Thank you so much, Maddie. We could have done it
Thank
without
you.
you.
Oh my God,
We love
literally,
you.
we could not have done
Yeah.
it without you.
I'm gonna throw up!
With that being said, thank you for joining us for After the Table, a TTRPG podcast. If you would like to find out more about Bituin Queen, make sure to follow them on all their socials. Also, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts for After the Table. Hello. Also, you can support After the Table and everything else I do by becoming a patron over on Patreon or Fourth Wall memberships. All the links down below. And I will see you on the internet. Goodbye!